This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Friday, September 5th, 2025. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
Contentious may be the most polite word to describe RFK Jr.'s Senate hearing.
How can you be that ignorant?
I'm Rich Johnson.
Another name change expected to be announced today by the Trump administration.
Defense is too defensive.
I'm Clayton Neville.
The District of Columbia is suing over President Trump's National Guard deployment. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
The Powerball jackpot jumped to $1.7 billion after no player had the 6 numbers drawn Wednesday night. I'm Jennifer King.
On Wall Street, stocks are coming off a winning day yesterday. It's all about the August jobs numbers this morning. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
Parents in Florida are divided over the state's move to end school vaccine mandates.
I believe everybody has an option.
I'm Haya Panjwani.
All ahead on America in the Morning. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. faced 3 hours of mostly hostile questioning by members of the Senate Finance Committee. Correspondent Rich Johnson reports it wasn't just Democrats who had pointed questions for the Health and Human Services Secretary.
Kennedy had a couple of friends in the hearing room, most notably Wyoming Republican John Barrasso, asking about future CDC research.
So what safeguards are in place to ensure decisions are based solely on science and not politics?
Kennedy's response?
Americans have lost faith in CDC, and we need to restore that faith. And we're going to do that by telling the truth and not through propaganda.
But most of the hearing went something like this.
Sir, you're a charlatan. That's what you are.
I think that you ought to resign.
And you should resign.
How can you be that ignorant?
Massachusetts Democrat Elizabeth Warren called out Kennedy for his firing of CDC Director Susan Menares, whom Kennedy had called unimpeachable during her confirmation hearing.
In a month, she became a liar?
Yeah, you should ask her what changed. And by the way, a month ago, you were voting against her. Oh, because you thought she was either incompetent, ineligible, or unsuited to the task.
I voted against her because I was afraid she was going to bend the knee to you and Donald Trump. And it looks like she didn't bend the knee, so you fired her.
Louisiana Republican Bill Cassidy, who is a doctor, challenged Kennedy over the legacy of the historic COVID vaccine push during the first Trump administration.
Mr. Secretary, do you agree with me that the president deserves a Nobel Prize for Operation Warp Speed?
Yeah, absolutely, Senator. That was phenomenal.
Let me ask you, but you just told Senator Bennett that the COVID vaccine killed more people than COVID.
Wait,
that was a statement.
I did not say that.
Okay, then let me ask, because you also were
Senator, I just want to make clear, I did not say that.
We'll check the record. That's a question of fact.
There is no record of Kennedy explicitly saying that, but he has referenced soundly debunked assertions about the death rates during the COVID vaccine trials. And on vaccines, New Hampshire Democrat Maggie Hassan and Kennedy got into it over the new policy limiting access to the next COVID vaccine.
People who want to exercise their freedom of choice are being denied that because you are citing data that you won't produce to the public.
You're just
and you are rejecting
You're
science.
making things up to scare people, and it's a lie.
With respect, I do not think I'm the one making things.
You are lying right now, Senator.
The Food and Drug Administration has approved updated COVID-19 shots, but only for seniors or younger people with underlying health risks. That's led many pharmacies to say they will refuse vaccines to people outside those groups. I'm Rich Johnson.
President Trump is expected to unveil another name change with an executive order later today. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports the commander-in-chief will be focusing on the department housed at the Pentagon.
Earlier this year, President Trump signed an order renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. Now, changes coming to the Department of Defense. The president expected to put pen to paper today on an executive order that names it the Department of War. He recently hinted at the move and was asked about clearing it with Congress.
I'm sure Congress will go along if we need that. I don't think we even need that, but if we need that, I'm sure Congress will go along.
He said he much prefers the name Department of War and pointed to the history of that name.
You know, that was the name when we won World War I, we won World War II, we won everything, and just to me seems like just a much more appropriate. The other is defense is too defensive. And we want to be defensive, but we want to be offensive, too, if we have to be. So it just sounded to me better.
On social media this week, the Department Secretary Pete Hegseth posted in all caps, quote, Department of War. I'm Clayton Neville.
The top stories of the day are sponsored by Sleep Number. It's the biggest sale of the year, all beds on sale. Limited time only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com. When we return, Lotto Fever, America in the Morning. Back after these messages. You're with America in the Morning. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
A cold front moving slowly through the northeast produced some decent showers and thunderstorms yesterday, some containing gusty winds. That boundary will crawl through New England today with a few more showers along it. This same front will extend southwestward through the central Appalachians, through West Virginia, into the Tennessee Valley, and westward into the Central Plains. There can continue to be development along this front through the central Appalachians and westward through Missouri and Kansas, as well as Arkansas and Oklahoma. Some of the storms could contain gusty winds. Meanwhile, another system moving eastward through the northern Great Lakes. First thing this morning will lead to some rain in northern Wisconsin and Michigan, with showers as far west as North Dakota into Minnesota and continuing into central Wisconsin and Michigan. It will also be quite cool in these areas, with highs mostly in the 50s, and that cooler weather will also extend southward through the rest of the Plain States, including Kansas and Missouri, with highs only in the 60s, and some places will be nearly 30 degrees below the historical average. In fact, the skies clear out tonight, and there could be some near-freezing temperatures in parts of eastern Montana and western North Dakota. South of that front through Texas into the southeast, it will still be quite warm and humid, with highs well into the 90s and even a few 100s. 80s and 90s will also extend northward through Virginia and eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. The west is also going to remain very warm to hot in the interior portions of Washington and Oregon into Idaho, and then southward through Nevada, California, and the southwest deserts. Highs will be mostly in the 90s. That's the weather across America. Dallas, Texas will be very warm today with clouds and some sun and a high of 98. By contrast, it'll be quite cool in Madison, Wisconsin with variable clouds and a high of just 61. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
Remember to follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. Saying it's become a military operation, Washington, D.C. announced it will file a lawsuit against the Trump administration to end its deployment of National Guard troops. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports the District of Columbia no longer wants federal intervention from the White House.
The District of Columbia is suing over President Trump's National Guard deployment. Soldiers have been patrolling in train stations, around monuments, and in neighborhoods. The district says that amounts to an involuntary and illegal military occupation. The federal suit comes after a judge in California ruled a Guard deployment to Los Angeles in June was illegal. That ruling does not apply to D.C., where the president has more control over the Guard. Just yesterday, he touted success here in the nation's capital because of the deployment.
Washington, D.C. is a totally safe city.
And says he's considering federal intervention in Chicago, Baltimore, New Orleans, and other cities. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
$1.7 billion will buy your dream. Correspondent Jennifer King reports that the Powerball jackpot is now the third largest ever in history. And the next drawing is tomorrow night.
Still no winner. The Powerball jackpot jumped to $1.7 billion after no player had the 6 numbers drawn Wednesday night. What would you do with the money?
That kind of money, I don't know.
Keith Arthur in Philadelphia says he's not sure.
I'm going to enjoy the money. If it come out, I'm going to enjoy it.
Sharon Taylor says she'd make herself scarce.
Set up a trust fund for my grandchildren. Don't tell anybody where I'm at. And take care of my family and my church.
The lottery jackpot has been piling up after 41 straight drawings, with the next one coming up Saturday. The odds of winning are abysmal, 1 in 292.2 million. You have a much higher likelihood of being hit by lightning or death by tsunami. I'm Jennifer King.
Mortgage rates down and expected to go lower when America This Week returns after these messages. And we're up to the business report with CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after a winning day yesterday for stocks. The Dow was up 250 points. The Nasdaq was up 200. The major averages are now all in the green for the week, which is pretty good considering September is typically a tough month for stocks. It's all about job growth, though, this morning as investors wait for the Labor Department's August employment report, the new ADP report on private sector only job growth. That came out yesterday. It was weak, with only around 54,000 new jobs added last month. Add that to other new data showing a slowing labor market.
Beige Book was a real eye-opener for me. Really a weak report. Spoke of an economy that's really at stall speed right now. There was no hiring going on, no growth, very limited consumer spending. And then the Challenger report, layoffs up 39%. So I ended up with more concern about the economy.
CNBC senior economics reporter Steve Leisman. Now, the big government jobs report will be out this morning at 8:30 Eastern. Mortgage rates are at their lowest in almost a year since last October, according to Mortgage News Daily. The average rate on a 30-year home loan loosely follows the rate on 10-year treasuries, which are down. Yesterday, a 30-year home loan was under 6.5%. at 6.45%. And depending on the big August jobs report out this morning, it could go even lower heading into the weekend.
As we continue to slide, we could see a significant follow-through, and it would make many happy. 10-year note yields lowering interest rates for the housing market.
CNBC's Rick Santelli. Say what you want about the Dallas Cowboys. That is a major American business.
Coming in at the top once again, the Dallas Cowboys, worth $12.5 billion. Rounding out the top five, you've got the LA Rams, the New York Giants, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the New England Patriots.
The media rights and the value of this intellectual property, in my opinion, has not come close to being tapped out. You look at the NFL's deal with ESPN. ESPN doesn't even have the cash flow to pay for the rights anymore as they try to transition to streaming. So they're giving the NFL 10% of the network.
That's CNBC's Michael Ozanian and Becky Quick. On today's watch list, we've been talking about it. It's Jobs Friday with the August employment report coming out. The NFL has an international game tonight as it tries to grow the sport. Chargers and Chiefs in Sao Paulo, Brazil. New in theaters, Warner Brothers horror film The Conjuring: Last Rites.
CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. Doctors find a non-recreational use for LSD. When America in the Morning continues after these messages. The Department of Justice is suing the city of Boston, arguing its policies that limit police cooperation with civil immigration enforcement violate federal law. The DOJ action follows similar suits filed against New York and Los Angeles that seek to overturn sanctuary city policies that pose obstacles to the Trump administration crackdown on illegal immigration. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu says her city will not back down, calling the enforcement an authoritarian agenda. Shifting gears, parents in Florida have mixed reactions to the state's new plan to eliminate childhood vaccine mandates. Correspondent Haya Panjwani reports.
Parents in Florida are divided over the state's move to end school vaccine mandates. Florida Surgeon General Dr. Joseph Ladapo announced that the state plans to be the first to eliminate vaccine mandates in schools. Fort Lauderdale mother Yvette Fayes says it isn't a good idea.
Because we believe in science, and science over and over, it's like we have to believe in this.
But Lydia Clark, also in Fort Lauderdale, said her 7-year-old grandchild had never been vaccinated. Now she's ecstatic that she won't have to keep securing exemptions.
Well, this is amazing. I believe everybody has an option. You know, if you want to vaccinate your child, you can. But I don't believe that it should have ever been enforced on any of us.
Florida already lags behind the nation in vaccinations. Only about 89% of kindergartners are immunized compared to the over 92% nationwide. I'm Haya Panjwani.
In the 1960s, it played a big part in the counterculture movement, and now LSD is being looked at as more than just a mind-altering narcotic. Correspondent Ed Donahue reports on a possible new treatment using the drug to help with anxiety.
A new study shows promise in treating anxiety with LSD. The psychedelic drug has been banned in the U.S. for more than half a century. Drug maker MindMed tested several doses of LSD in patients with moderate to severe generalized anxiety disorder. The benefits lasted as long as 3 months. The next step is more testing. MindMed plans to also apply for Food and Drug Administration approval. Psychedelics are in the midst of a popular and scientific comeback. The FDA has designated LSD as a potential breakthrough therapy. For the study, researchers measured anxiety symptoms in nearly 200 patients who randomly received 1 of 4 doses of LSD or a placebo. Patients receiving the 2 highest doses had significantly lower anxiety scores than those who received a placebo or lower doses. Ed Donahue, Washington.
America in the Morning for Friday, September 5th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour,
the nation's health chief has been getting a bipartisan earful during an animated Senate hearing. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Texas lawmakers have approved legislation that would allow state residents to sue out-of-state abortion pill providers. I'm Ben Thomas.
The idea of Western boots on the ground in Ukraine not being received well by the Kremlin. I'm Clayton Neville.
The leader of Northwestern University says he's resigning. I'm Mike Hempen.
A rare alliance is emerging on Capitol Hill in support of a ban on members trading stocks. Jennifer King, Washington.
People from all parts of the world are paying tribute to legendary fashion designer Giorgio Armani. I'm Ed Donahue.
Back after these messages. Welcome back to America in the Morning. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
A storm system moving eastward through the northern Great Lakes first thing this morning will lead to some rain in northern Wisconsin and northern Michigan, with a few showers as far west as North Dakota into Minnesota and continuing into central Wisconsin and Michigan. It will also be quite cool in these areas with highs mostly in the 50s. That cooler weather will also extend southward through the rest of the central plain states, including Kansas and Missouri, with highs only in the 60s. In some of these places, it will be nearly 30 degrees below the historical average. As skies clear out tonight, there could be near-freezing temperatures in parts of eastern Montana and western North Dakota. South of that front through Texas into the southeast, it will still be quite warm and humid with highs well into the 90s and even a few 100s. 80s and 90s will also extend northward through Virginia into eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. The west will remain quite warm to hot through the interior portions of Washington and Oregon into Idaho, and then southward through Nevada, California, and the southwest deserts. Highs will be in the 90s. There'll be some thunderstorms through the area as well from Arizona and New Mexico into Colorado and Nevada. A few of these storms could produce flash flooding, especially in the south where moisture from Tropical Storm Loretta moves into the area. A cold front moving slowly through the northeast will produce some showers and thunderstorms yesterday and contain the gusty winds. That boundary will crawl through New England today with a few more showers. And this same front will extend southwestward through the central Appalachians, around West Virginia, and then head westward through the Tennessee Valley into the central plains. And there can continue to be development from the central Appalachians westward through Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. Some of the storms could produce gusty winds. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. It was a bipartisan grilling of the head of the Department of Health and Human Services. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports on Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s Senate hearing on vaccines and apparent chaos at the CDC.
Last time you were before Congress, Secretary Kennedy, you claimed, and I quote, "I have never been anti-vax. I have never told the public to avoid a vaccination." But in a podcast, you said the opposite. You said there's no vaccine that is safe and effective. So that sure sounds anti-vax to me, Secretary Kennedy. So let me ask you, when were you lying, sir? When you told this committee that you were not anti-vax, or when you told Americans that there's no safe and effective vaccine?
Both things are true.
Oh, so.
The nation's health chief has been getting a bipartisan earful during an animated Senate hearing. Democrats and Republicans alike pushed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. about turmoil at health agencies and his changes to COVID-19 policies. He blasted the CDC's recommendations during the pandemic, claiming wrongly
failed to do anything about the disease itself,
and said CDC officials who recently were fired or quit deserve to leave.
We are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at CDC. They did not do their job. This was their job to keep us healthy.
Thank you,
and
Mr.
I need to fire some of those people to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Democrat Ron Wyden hammered Kennedy for replacing every scientist on a vaccine panel with skeptics and conspiracy theorists.
Every single day there's been an action that endangers the health and wellness of American families. Robert Kennedy has elevated conspiracy theorists, crackpots, and grifters to make life or death decisions about the health care of the American people. You stacked the deck.
Kennedy says he has backing.
The scientists and doctors are supporting me all over the country.
But even GOP lawmakers like John Barrasso pushed back.
I support vaccines. I'm a doctor. Vaccines work. Secretary Kennedy, in your confirmation hearings, you promised to uphold the highest standards for vaccines. Since then, I've grown deeply concerned. The public has seen measles outbreaks, leadership in the National Institute of Health questioning the use of mRNA vaccines. If we're going to make America healthy again, we can't allow public health to be undermined.
Bill Cassidy's a doctor, too.
I would say effectively we're denying people vaccine.
Senator Cantwell.
You're wrong.
Insults flowed freely from Democrat Maria Cantwell.
Sir, you're a charlatan.
Senator, I just want to make clear, I did not say that.
We'll check the record. That's a question of fact.
For the first time, we're seeing deaths from children from measles. We haven't seen that in 2 decades. We're seeing that under your watch. You are a hazard to the health of the American people.
I'm going to pray for you, Secretary Kennedy. I hope we do better. I want you to do better. But today was a failure for you, man.
And Kennedy himself.
You're just saying something. You're just making stuff up.
Let's move on.
I don't even know what you're talking about. You're talking gibberish.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
More than 800 new laws took effect in Texas this week, and one that could soon be added to that list will allow state residents to sue out-of-state abortion pill providers. Correspondent Ben Thomas reports the bill now awaits the signature of Governor Greg Abbott to become law.
Texas lawmakers have approved legislation that would allow state residents to sue out-of-state abortion pill providers for up to $100,000. That would include drug makers, doctors prescribing the pills, and anyone who mails the medication. It's the first legislation of its kind in any state. Supporters hail it as a tool to stop medication abortions, which remain available despite being illegal in Texas. Abortion rights groups deride the measure as a bounty hunter bill, saying it would encourage private citizens to engage in a form of legalized vigilante justice. Governor Greg Abbott is an opponent of abortion and is expected to sign the bill into law. It would take effect in December, though legal challenges are likely. I'm Ben Thomas.
With no ceasefire talks in sight, Russia is reacting to the idea of European peacekeeping troops from Western countries forming a presence on the ground in Ukraine. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
Russian President Vladimir Putin telling reporters that Ukraine cannot sustain its fight against his military's force. He was interpreted by a translator.
Capabilities, they are not capable of large-scale offensive operations. They are only trying to defend the front line that they have.
Russia's foreign ministry again warned that Moscow will not accept the presence of any Western troops in Ukraine as part of any future peace deal. This as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met a group of top European leaders this week in Paris. French President Emmanuel Macron, translated by France 24.
There are 26 countries who have formally made pledges, who have committed to provide additional forces in Ukraine where needed, be it on the land, in the air, or by sea.
EU President Ursula von der Leyen with confidence in the plan. She spoke with Wiretap Media.
This should help secure lasting peace and deter future aggression.
NATO also showing support for the idea of Western troops in Ukraine. Secretary Mark Rutte talked about it at the Eastern Economic Forum and said Russia has no business reacting to the decisions of other countries.
Ukraine is a sovereign nation. If Ukraine wants to have security guarantee forces in Ukraine to support a peace deal, it's up to them. Nobody else can decide about it. And I think we really have to stop making Putin too powerful. He is the governor of Texas, not more. So let's not take it too serious.
President Trump is expected to be briefed on the plan moving forward, but the exact details of the new security guarantees for Ukraine haven't been made public yet. I'm Clayton Neville.
A ban on stock trading for congressmen. That and more when America in the Morning continues after these messages. A college president whose tenure has been marked by White House tension is stepping down. Details from correspondent Mike Hempen.
The leader of Northwestern University says he's resigning. Michael Schill's announcement that he plans to resign will end a 3-year tenure marked by the freeze of hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funding by the Trump administration. Northwestern has been a target of President Trump's campaign to reshape elite colleges that he considers hotbeds of liberalism and anti-Semitism. In April, the administration froze $790 million in federal funding for Northwestern. The school is among dozens of colleges that have been under investigation over claims they did not do enough to protect Jewish students during campus protests. Northwestern says Schill will remain as president until an interim leader is chosen. I'm Mike Hempen.
Following reports of some in Congress becoming uber rich while in office, House members from the right, left, and in between are expressing support for a stocks trading ban. Jennifer King reports.
A rare alliance is emerging on Capitol Hill in support of a ban on members trading stocks. A dozen House Republicans and Democrats who rarely agree came out Wednesday to rally around a new bill. It would prohibit members of Congress and their families from owning and trading stocks and require lawmakers to divest individual stocks and bonds. It's a step up from disclosure requirements passed in 2012.
I would note that President Trump has said he supports it.
Texas Republican Chip Roy.
And vast numbers of both sides of the aisle support this, and it is long past time that we move.
Tennessee conservative Tim Burchett got a fist bump from New York progressive Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
This body has been enriching itself on the taxpayer's dime, and dadgummit, it's got to stop.
It is one of those rare moments where I feel like Washington is working the way that it's supposed to work.
The plan seems to have momentum in the House, but may face a more difficult climb in the Senate. Jennifer King, Washington.
In what's being called a show of force, 2 armed Venezuelan F-16 fighter jets flew over the USS Jason Dunham on Thursday. CBS News is reporting that the guided missile destroyer is among a flotilla of U.S. warships in the southern Caribbean Sea, and the incident was confirmed by the Defense Department, which released a statement calling the Venezuelan action highly provocative. The incident comes just days after the U.S. destroyed a speedboat alleged to have been carrying drugs out of Venezuela, killing 11 people. The Pentagon also warned the government of Venezuela not to pursue any further action to interfere with U.S. operations in the area. America in the Morning continues. There was another massive aftershock on Thursday following a devastating earthquake this week in Afghanistan. Correspondent Karen Shamas reports on a jump in the death toll, as well as reports that women in the Taliban-run country are not getting help in the hardest-hit areas.
A Taliban government spokesman has said that the death toll from a major earthquake in Afghanistan has risen to 2,205 people. The shallow magnitude 6.0 quake struck the mountainous and remote eastern part of the country late on Sunday. It leveled villages and trapped people under the rubble. Most of the casualties have been in Kunar province, where people typically live in wood and mud brick houses along steep river valleys. At a local hospital, earthquake survivor Kari Abayula told the AP how the earthquake killed 5 of his family members, including his parents and 2 of his children. Rescue efforts are ongoing, but rough terrain and funding cuts are hindering relief. Afghanistan has already been facing drought, a weak economy, and the recent return of some 2 million refugees. I'm Karen Shamas.
Midjourney, an AI image-generating website, is getting sued for copyright infringement again, this time from Warner Brothers Studios. Chuck Palm has details in today's Tech Report.
Warner Brothers Discovery is suing AI image generator Midjourney for allegedly swiping Superman, Scooby-Doo, and more. Warner Brothers is claiming that Midjourney has been using the images of Batman, Bugs Bunny, and more without registering their permission. The studio claims that Midjourney's AI is used by over 21 million users and was trained on copyrighted characters to create downloadable images in any scene without permission. Warner Brothers has labeled it breathtaking piracy, noting that Midjourney even lifted protections last month to allow more infringing content. Midjourney argues it's fair use to fuel innovation, but Warner Brothers wants damages, potentially $150,000 per work, and a halt to all the AI antics. This is yet another shot in the war over IP for AI. Find me at chuckpalm.com.
NFL gets into high gear this weekend. With more in sports, here's America in the Morning's Robert Workman.
The NFL season opened in Philadelphia last night with the Super Bowl champion Eagles edging the Dallas Cowboys 24-20. The NFC East rivals got into it early. Birds defensive tackle Jalen Carter was ejected before the first snap for spitting at Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, who may have done the same thing. But then they got down to business, each team scoring on its first 4 possessions. Javonte Williams with 2 TD runs for Dallas. Jalen Hurts ran in a pair for the Eagles. Saquon Barkley's 10-yard touchdown run put Philly ahead just before halftime, but the Cowboys' drive for a potential go-ahead score late in the third ended with a fumble at the 10, followed by an hour-long weather delay after lightning was sighted near the stadium. Play resumed, but neither side got within shouting distance of the red zone the rest of the way. Tonight in Brazil, it'll be the Chiefs against the Chargers, then a full slate on Sunday. U.S. Open women's semifinals, number 1 seed Aryna Sabalenka will try and make it back-to-back U.S. Open titles tomorrow. She fought off American 4 seed Jessica Pegula in 3 sets and will try and do what no woman has done at Flushing Meadows since Serena Williams won 3 in a row more than 10 years ago. Her opponent will be U.S. 8 seed Amanda Anisimova, who ousted Naomi Osaka, also in 3 sets, and like Sabalenka, she needed 3 match points to nail it down. Men's semifinals today and tonight, and then their final is on Sunday. Baseball, the Phillies blanked the Brewers 2-0. Ranger Suarez and the Ricks scattered 7 hits. Paul Skeens went 6 scoreless for his 10th win as the Pirates sank the Dodgers 5-3.
Yeah, execution was pretty good. And, the balls that were put in play, we made some nice plays on. So just a really well-played baseball game.
Carlos Rodon picked up his league-leading 16th victory as the Yankees doubled up the Astros 8-4, and the Rays won their 7th straight. That's Friday Sports.
Saying goodbye to a fashion icon when America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. Tributes continue to pour in from around the world from the famous in fashion and stars of the silver screen. Correspondent Ed Donahue reports on reaction to the death of fashion designer Giorgio Armani.
People from all parts of the world are paying tribute to legendary fashion designer Giorgio Armani, who died at 91. Armani turned the concept of understated elegance into a multi-billion-dollar fashion empire. In Rome, painter Giuseppe Collin says Armani has been #1 for 50 years, the pinnacle of Italian fashion, with a unique and exceptional talent. Oscar winner Mira Sorvino said Armani discovered her at the Venice Film Festival in the 1990s and dressed her for Hollywood and...
my wedding dress, the most two biggest days besides the birth of my children in my life in a way, and he was there making it beautiful.
What stands out for fashion author Dana Thomas is Armani's kindness.
He was very chic and elegant himself,
But he wasn't one of these tyrants who screamed and yelled at his assistant.
Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni described Armani as a symbol of the best of Italy. I'm Ed Donahue.
Heading to the theaters this weekend, we're moving into scary movie season, so why not another Conjuring movie? Kevin Carr has a sneak peek at The Conjuring: Last Rites.
Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga return to the big screen as everyone's favorite ghost hunters.
The devil has come to Pennsylvania.
Jack and Janet Smurl claim that an evil presence has found its way into their home.
The Conjuring: Last Rites finds Ed and Lorraine Warren being pulled out of retirement to investigate a haunting in Pennsylvania that threatens their own daughter.
This thing in your house is a demon.
Based on actual cases that the Warrens investigated over decades, the Conjuring universe has built itself into quite a provocative franchise. But make no mistake that it's the string of movies with Wilson and Farmiga as the Warrens that holds the most weight.
Don't touch anything. Everything you see in here is either haunted, cursed.
By its nature, the film feels a bit disjointed and long because it always features two separate stories that collide when the Warrens finally show up to dispatch the demon.
There's an evil here, something I've felt before.
There's even more to juggle now because we get extra backstory on the Warrens and not just the demon-afflicted family. Fans of the franchise should appreciate the screen time devoted to the living characters as much as the dead ones.
If all these things are so evil, why do you keep them around? It's complicated.
This isn't as good as the original film, but it's shockingly entertaining for the fourth film in a horror series and ninth in an expanded franchise.
I don't know how to protect you this time.
The Conjuring: Last Rites gets 3 Annabelle dolls out of 5. I'm Kevin Carr, and that's the way I see it.
America in the Morning for Friday, September 5th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.